let's start where we just talked. Texas, Florida. So Texas visiting Florida. Texas is anywhere from 6.5 to a 7-point favorite. Total has come way down to 42.5.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up reluctantly playing Florida here. I took the
Ooh.
7. So when I look at these teams, here's my thinking on this. Like, I don't show huge numbers edge. I show just a tiny bit of value in Florida. Both these offenses have been ugly. Both of these defenses have been elite. So why do I like Florida here? Well, I think that there's a higher probability that Lagway benefits more from the bye week than Arch does. Why? Well, we know for a fact that Lagway was hurt in the offseason. We know for a fact that he didn't get to work with his receivers. And we've seen him produce at a high level against SEC caliber defenses before. So we don't know if Arch is hurt. He did get to work with his receivers. And we haven't really seen him produce through the air. So, like, why I can believe that Lagway is going to come at, maybe he's healthier. Mm-hmm. Maybe he gets more timing down with his receivers. And it looks like Dallas Wilson's going to play. Dallas Wilson, 5-star freshman, had 10 catches for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns in the spring game. And we've seen how good this Florida defense has been. So there's a lot of upside here for Florida that they might look more functional on offense. Texas is running more man. I think that's good. The more middle of the field closed. I think that's good for Lagway. With Wilson in the lineup, they might actually be able to bring the deep pass back. It's amazing. It's disappeared from their offense. It was a strength last year. And I just haven't seen it from Arch to ever trust laying 7 on the road here. I mean, this is a kid that was 11 of 24 at home against UTEP for 130 yards with a touchdown and a pick. This Florida defense has been feisty against everyone. This is also an enormous strength of schedule disparity. Texas strength of schedule around 150 in the nation. Florida is number 2 overall. So at home in the swamp after the bye, I don't expect Florida to quit. This might be their last hurrah. If they don't win this game, it might be the last hurrah for old Billy Napier. They'll also have a slight special teams edge per my numbers. And the total is super low. Points should be at a premium. For what it's worth, Napier's 26-14 against the spread as an underdog, 65%, covering by about 5 points per game. 8-4 against the spread when catching at least a touchdown against SEC teams. Really should be 9-3 if Lagway didn't throw 5 picks against LSU. So one final thing here is that if you look at Texas's defensive numbers under the hood, they all look elite, right? But, you know, they did face Ohio State in a game where Ohio State didn't really try to do much, and it was Saints' first start. And then since then, they've played a bunch of clowns. But their defense is supposed to be really good. It is elite. But maybe there's a chance that it's a bit overrated because of that and because of the lack of strength of schedule. But if you look, where's a weakness in their defense? It's against 12 personnel. They have not been good against 12 personnel. You're going to get a lot of that from Florida. So I took the points here. This a lot of uncertainty with how these quarterbacks are going to look. And it could come down to who makes fewer mistakes, which does worry me a bit about Lagway. But I'm going to trust Florida in the spot at home in the swamp. What do you see here?
Well, I make it 6, so I couldn't get on the side. I was really interested in the total and how it was dipping. I didn't know if that was injury related. I didn't know if that was weather related. And I really kind of wanted to sit back. And I did my homework earlier this week and wrote it up for Action Network. And, you know, what the defenses have done to this point has really been amazing. I don't believe in Arch. I mean, I get it. You had 7 red zone trips against Sam Houston, 5 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Like, is that supposed to convince me that this 84th overall in finishing drives and this consistent red zone issue that Steve Sarkisian has, that all of a sudden it's going to be fixed because you had a game against Phil Longo?
I mean, not only that, even outside the 20, Arch is struggling to move the ball against.
They should be,
and everything looks off.
Yeah, everything looks off. The strength of the Longhorns is absolutely what Kwiatkowski's doing with the defense in the 3-3-5. Top 15 overall in success rate, best defense in the nation when it comes to limiting quality drives and rush explosives. I just don't expect much from Florida here on the ground. We'll see, what Dallas Wilson's going to do. But at the same time, it's it's one of those things where I think Florida needs to kind of find an identity themselves. The last thing I'll mention about the Texas D is that they're 7th in hard stops, and that is a PFF stat that says a complete failure by the offense. If you can tackle in space in the second level, you get a stop. I think that's really important because I'm not sure Florida's going to be able to create any explosives unless we see something we haven't seen before from a 5-star freshman.
Yeah.
Lagway, his numbers in that last game against Miami were, I get it, he didn't have a turnover-worthy play, and that's what we're looking for. But his average depth of target was 3.7 yards. It's like he didn't create a big-time throw. Billy Neighbor didn't allow him to do a thing to screw up. When you're throwing for 3.7 yards, it's tough to screw up. And I think going up against Miami, maybe it was more of those, I need Lagway to have a clean mental health billing going into the bye week than anything else. But, in passing downs against Miami, 2.7 yards per play. They went 12 of 23 overall passing. I know it was 5 interceptions. This is against LSU. This was a step up, not to commit a turnover-worthy play against Miami. But at the same time, I just don't see this offense doing anything. They're going to have to need every single yard after first contact from Jaden Ball, who right now is 4 yards after first contact. They're going to need all of that against
But if they just hit a couple explosives to Dallas Wilson, like, you don't need much in this game to cover with a total of 41.5.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think it's going to come late. And the reason I think it's going to come late, by the way, the Gators defense, another thing that I love about their stat box, 18 possessions they've allowed to cross the 40-yard line. Only 10 of those have made it into the red zone. Like
they've done it against the second hardest schedule in the country.
And think about it. Like, most teams get stiff in the red zone. They get stiff after the 40. Like, only half of those drives across the 40 even made it to the 20.
They're doing it without getting any pressure, because that's the one weakness of their defense.
Here's the one thing that I bet. I wrote it up on Action. Just blow it for everybody. I took a first quarter under. I took a first half under. These defenses are so elite. Texas hasn't allowed anyone to score on them in the first quarter, and they did play Ohio State. But Florida's only given up a TD in the first quarter, period. That's it. 7 points, 1 TD, and it was given up to Miami. They played LSU. They played South Florida. Like, that's it. These teams are so good in the scripted portion.
Also played Long Island, who has a road FBS win this year against Eastern Michigan.
The Sharks. So, listen, combined, these teams have given up 7 points in the first quarter. I played under 7.5 in the first quarter. I played under 21.5 in the first half. That's down to 20.5. I think what's interesting about this, to say, Stuck, that I think there's going to be score in the second half, that first half total is still 20.5, and the overall game total has trickled from 40.5 up to 42.5. So I think it's a slow starting game. And then I think you're right. I think Florida figures a couple things out in the second half, and maybe Sark finds the red zone here and finds some play calling down by the 20. But I like the first half under. I love the first quarter under.
All right, I'm rolling with the Gators. Chomp, chomp.